If somebody asks you what's your net worth, what's it going to be? 10,000, 20,000, 50,000? Or are you in minus? Are you in debt? Okay, in today's video, I'm going to interview this gentleman that most of you have seen before. He runs the channel Diaspora Careers and Investment. Very well learned, especially in UK finance and all that. And today, I'm going to interview him because I watched one of his interviews recently where he was saying that himself and his wife, as migrants, like most of you watching me, they have been able to create a net worth of about £200,000. And this gentleman, he's only been in the UK for a while. His dream is to be worth $1 million by 2035. So I'm going to bring him on board and then we're going to ask him how he's been able to do this so far and some of his, tips and advice for other migrants. Because as per the statistics, they say that most migrants are not able to become as wealthy as our white counterparts or the locals. So let's find out. Stop that. So I know that most people have seen your face before, but for those who do not know you, just briefly, but then I want you to focus more on how long you've been here in the UK and then your journey so far, what you've been doing this whole time so that they will know.
My name is Shadrach. I've actually been in the UK for quite a while. I started as a student, say 2019, that's when I started working. But for the most part, I was a student. So I studied here for my master's and PhD. But actually, what actually got me onto this financial journey was
and let us say that you came here, usually it's the rich kids in Ghana who are able to afford PhD and masters here. Let's be clear to say that you came on scholarship. So it's not like your father is despite or whoever. Yeah.
So afterwards, I started working, from 2019, late 2018, but mostly 2019. What got me on this financial journey was actually when I married. My wife is also a nurse. We both trained as nurses. And I think as a man, a bit of ego, I must say, I was quite worried that we did not know much about, money. And one of us has to learn it, one of us has to know, I felt, because if we are working to make money, we just can't continue to save and, spend the money and then not know what we're doing with it. So somebody had to start the journey, whether about credit cards, trying to understand the UK finance system. So I took it upon myself as, head of my family to get to understand this. And it's been an amazing journey. Honestly, it's one of the things I'm really proud of, what I've actually learned outside of school. I mean, you're also a nurse. We don't learn these things in nursing school. And sometimes I think we must have the humility to learn. If you're in a home where, your wife knows a bit about money, then maybe it's easier for you. But where, none of you really understand, then both of you, or at least one of you, has to make the point to, to study it. Because honestly, we came here to, for those of us working here, we want to build something, want to make something of ourselves. And understanding how the finance system works, is important because if not, for lack of knowledge, many people are perishing and you suffer for a long time before, you get to know. And of course, that's why I also started my YouTube channel, Diaspora Careers and Investments, which has been really useful. And thanks to you, for all the exposure you've given me and all the lessons that you've helped me with.
If I understand you correctly, you and your wife, you now are worth. Is it that you have £200,000 cash? Or you have accumulated a net worth of, please explain what it is that I heard in that video. Guys, I'll insert that clip here so that you understand where I'm coming from.
I've already recorded a video of how I plan to make £1 million by the end of 2030. That specific. I think at the end of last year, we had made about £200,000. So we are clearly on track to achieving that. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below.
I mean, I think it's more of net worth than cash. No, I don't have £200,000 cash sitting down. I mean, in fact, now if you should hold me and shake me, you're not even going to get coins, you see, nothing, you see. It's net worth. It's not actually even net worth because if somebody's calculating their net worth, depending on the formula you use, sometimes you can insert your education. If I'm going to add my education and all of that, then of course I'm worth a lot more than that. My PhD cost was £30,000 a year for 4 years. That's already, 120,000. How much stipends and all of that. So I guess it's £200,000 in terms of assets, cash, investments, liquid, that is worth, 200,000 and a bit over that. So I think, and I know that I'm on your channel and your platform is really huge, so it may send a misleading view out there. It is not just Shadrach Nanel. I have met so many Ghanaians, since I started my YouTube channel, who have over 500,000. People have a lot of money, especially in the London area. If somebody owns a 600,000 property in London, they have equity of at least 300,000 in it, or say 200,000 in it. So already they've got money worth more than that. I was talking to people who live in, say, the south, whether Bournemouth, that area, coming to Brighton, coming to Eastbourne, who own more than £300,000 in their homes. So I think we need to put it in perspective that a lot of people are doing well, except that not many of them are out there. But because some of us have this platform, it feels, oh, Sharak is the only one doing well. No, a lot more people are doing well. If you feel you are all struggling, your network is your net worth.
Please allow me to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Lemfi. I have not spoken about Lemfi for a while because Lemfi temporarily paused their activities in Ghana. But guys, they are back even better. So if you're hearing Lemfi for the first time, Lemfi is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK, Canada, and the US to over 10 different African countries at no transfer charge. When you send the money, the person gets the money instantly. Whether you use an Android or an iOS, you can always download Lemfi with a link in the description and start send money now. Lemfi has a 10% cashback offer when you use my referral code NANEL. So if you're sending £100, you get £10 back. If you're sending £200, you get £20 back for your first transfers above £100. Even after that, you can also generate your own Lemfi referral code in the app and let friends and family use your referral link, and you get a bonus when people use your link. Interesting, right? So guys, I'm recommending Lemfi. Ever since I discovered it, that's what my friends and myself have been using. The app is very, very easy to navigate through and to understand. You can send money from the UK, Canada, US to countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Benin, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, okay, and no transfer charge, zero transfer charge. Let me not talk too much, just give it a first try, and if you like it, do well to come back to say thank you. Thank you so much, Lemfi, for sponsoring today's video.
I mean, when I shared the video of paying off my mortgage, there are some who are like, he's lying, it cannot be true. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've met at least 2 Ghanaians who have paid off their mortgages also. And I think it is when we begin to accept this as the norm, that it is possible to do this. That is where you get to meet you attract what you admire. That is what it is. When you start to, get interested in these things, you get to meet people who are actually breaking grounds and doing a lot more. And that gives you the exposure also.
Can we say that you have been working in the UK for 5 years?
Yeah, but I guess, accumulating £200,000 has been in the last 2.5 years when I actually got a bit serious. Hitherto, actually did not know I was going to live in the UK. My plan was to just finish my PhD and go back home. So all that I was working was towards going back home because I wanted to be home and then make some more impact. But life happens, I think it's important to also mention that when people say that, oh, Sharak, why are you advocating to, people shouldn't invest all their money back home? You don't know what you're saying. I've been in that position, you see. When I thought I wanted to go back home, I was buying lands, I was trying to do businesses, and I've learned my bitter lessons. So when I say that now I'm focused here, I know what I'm saying, and I know how that has turned my own life around. It's helped me focus more.
Let's be a bit inquisitive. If you would tell us what your net worth is about, what is it? Is it property? Is it investment? What is it?
Property, stocks and shares, and cash. These are the 3 main things that I hold that I've paid off my mortgage. Our house is currently worth a bit over 180,000 already. That puts us in a very good position. If you have not seen the video of how I paid off the mortgage, Nanel can put a link to it in the description box below, but you can check it out on my channel. But that has put us in a place whereby every month of our budget or of our expenses, there's no rent. Can you imagine what you can do if you don't have any rent to pay? So for all those who are bashing that, Sharak, it doesn't make sense to pay off your mortgage and all of that. I'm like, have you done it before? Until you've done it, you have no idea how it frees your mind to now focus on other things. So given that we don't have rent to pay, we're able to focus on building our stocks and shares portfolio. So I invest heavily in the stock market. Currently, my portfolio is returning about 15%, which is fantastic, you see, as well as my private pension, which is, a self-invested one. So that is also in S&P 500 and other life equity strategies that I do. And that, like I said, is returning about 15%. And then I hold some cash, one for emergency, but also next month, the new budget will be read. I think that budget holds a lot of promise. So I'm also holding some cash so that once the new budget is looking promising and there are opportunities, I'll be able to buy some more properties or do something like that. So in summary, that's all I hold.
Wow.
There are other things you can consider, but those don't really matter.
And then I know that she said your aim is to reach $1 million by 2035. Is that
Absolutely.
right? Can you briefly tell us what are some of the steps that you you are planning to take that can get you there, or some of the steps that some of us can take that can get us there?
I think one of the ways to building, this thing is to have a long-term goal. So my long-term goal is to move back to Ghana at some point. And I figure that if I've got £1 million invested in the UK, it can return me at least £3,000 a month. And with £3,000 in Ghana, I should be fine. So that really is the strategy. Now, like you say, it's £1 million by 2035. I think the plan is £1 million by 2030, because then I figure that if that £1 million is invested here in the UK, I know several places that I can earn at least £3,000 if I have that invested. And if the plan is to move back to Ghana with £3,000 per month in Ghana, I should be fine. So it was based on that long-term goal that I'm able to now break it down into how much do I need to necessarily make this year. I know the thing about money, and I know the more you have, the more you can have. And if you don't have it, it feels like you are dying tomorrow. If you have £200,000 invested in something, every month you can make £300 or £400 comfortably. And with that, you can now invest that, and it multiplies and it multiplies and it earns you more. So my strategy is through property and then invest in the stock market. 2030 is 6 years from now. If you've been watching my videos, how to invest in the stock market, I've met so many people and I've helped them invest in the stock market. You know that it's a long-term game for 5 years or more. So I've got 6 years. So investing in the stock market is a good strategy. Now, if I invest in the stock market, then it will yield profits for me, or dividends even for me. With property too, the value of the house goes up. One of the strategies now is to actually sell our property at some point and then downsize if we're all moving to Ghana. We don't need a big house. We can now sell, take all that money out to buy maybe a 2-bed flat here in the UK where we can spend holidays here, and now go use that money to buy a place in Ghana where we would live and then invest the rest of the money. So that is the strategy. But point is, it started from the yearly targets. I think in my last video, I shared a 5-year plan people can follow to be rich. It is something I'm really proud I created. And I think it's very doable. It's very possible.
For people who are looking at you right now and then they're thinking you're probably earning 200,000 a year, that's why you are saying these things boldly.
No.
How much are you being? Let them know what you do, and then roughly how much are you bringing home in a year, so that they will know that it's not like you are extremely, but yet still you have a plan to make this amount of money in the next 5-6 years. Please, what do you do first of all?
I'm just a teacher, Nanel. And
Teachers
teachers everywhere.
You're a lecturer. Uh-huh.
No. A teacher is a teacher. A
Why
teacher
are
is
you
a
low?
teacher.
Why are you making it lower than it is? Okay.
A teacher is a teacher. I've got a video coming up on how couples should manage their money in households. I must say that I'm very lucky that I've got a supportive, wife who supports our goals. That gives me a lot of peace. As a lecturer, I bring in just average salary also, but I'm able to have other streams of income. I think I've done a video where I shared my 7 streams of income. I have property that brings something extra. YouTube pays a bit. Sometimes I get speaking engagements where I bring in a bit. So it's a bit here, a bit there. But at the bottom line is I'm brutally frugal with some of the things that I spend my money on and things I don't spend money on. I know I'm fortunate enough to earn a bit more than the average nurse in the UK, for example. But nurses also have potential to actually earn a lot more. So this is what guides me. How much does a nurse in the UK earn? Say 1,500, 1,600 a month. If that is what a nurse in the UK earns, then Shadrach, at the bottom line, you are a nurse. You must be able to spend this and be comfortable. So really, there are those who have told, when I had my first car, it was a 2009 Toyota Auris, and somebody told me, Doc, this car doesn't resemble you. You should. I wish I could speak the tree. How they say, Doc, car way in Fatao. What do they mean? I should buy an SUV. And it is that mentality that, dress according to how you earn and all of that. I am brutally frugal with some of the things I spend money on. Now, times I will say that, sorry, but we cannot afford this. Not because the money is not there per se, but it is not part of our plan. So we spend as nurses would spend. Whatever over that is saved, it's invested. Even if we bring in 10,000 a month, of course, we don't bring in that much a month. Our spending doesn't exceed a certain amount. And we have sat down as a family to do the budgets. How much do we pay for rent when we had mortgage? How much do we spend on food? How much is our council tax? How much is this? How much is that? Okay, now we know that our household, we need at least £2,000 to survive a month. Actually, add £200 more for other miscellaneous. Anything excess of that has to be saved, has to be invested. And that is how we plan our lives. If we've got something we want to spend on, we ask ourselves, is this necessary? Or do we have to take from our savings? If not, then we have to ask ourselves, how else can we fund certain things? Okay, Shadrach, then it means for the next year or two, you have to take on extra teaching. So in the last year, I was doing extra teaching so that money goes towards the car. Not because my income would not be enough for it, but so that we don't have to mess up our savings goals. And I think that's what sometimes people forget. People have all these budgets drawn, and the next time they've gone for some big expense and they've not catered for how they are going to pay for that. You see, so I think it's about planning and sticking to that plan. Finally, I'm actually guided by this principle that Shadrach, if somebody came to you that they need advice about how to go about their finances based on their situation, what would you advise them to do? Now, when I'm able to say that advice out, I also stick to that advice so that I don't get emotional that, oh, but I love this, but I want this. No. If I'll not tell somebody to do that, then I don't do it either.
You have strict principles that you have laid out for yourself and your family.
Oh, yeah.
You're disciplined about it, and then
Oh, yeah.
that's helping you.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's
And
really
I've
good.
set up direct debit and standing orders. I mean, today is 28th, so I'll be paid today, I think. I've not even checked because the standing orders in my account that are coming out on the 1st. By 1st, all the money is going to where they are supposed to go to. And I'm barely left with about 50 or 60 pounds left for myself. Because I'm also emotional. If I see a lot of money, I'll spend it on something unnecessary. So at the beginning of the month, I only have like 50, 60 pounds to spend on myself. So that also restricts how much I can actually blow on things. And the truth is, the investment account, the app and everything, I have it on my phone. My wife also has it on her phone. So if I did not pay my part, she knows it, you see. So that's what we are guided by, and we are accountable to each other.
With what you've been able to accumulate with your family so far, would you say there were some systems or support or resources that really helped you to be able to do this that you would recommend to other people that want to follow the same path?
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of the financial system here in the UK, I mean, it's a bit different from back home. So you want to understand what you have access to. So one of the things I've been preaching on my channel is building an excellent credit score. I think sometimes people have excellent credit score and now they worship the credit score. Like they don't want it to reduce or anything. But credit score is supposed to be an asset where you can leverage to build your wealth. So I have used my credit score to pay off my mortgage, and that is giving me more money per month to spend on other things. So I think people need to understand how the system works. For example, Lifetime ISA, which gives you, £1,000 for every £4,000 you save for buying a house. I am utterly surprised when I speak to some people who have no idea how it works or they don't understand that. So they are saving in some savings account to buy their house, losing thousands of pounds. So you can make the journey a bit easier if you understand the system a bit more. And of course, sometimes the learning can be hard. And that is why we have all these YouTube channels. That's why I'm here, sharing. I've got my YouTube channel where I share all these nuggets. I hope people would subscribe to it, where it will be that source where they can learn from and get to do things. And I think I'm a relatable face whereby, if you want to ask specific questions, sometimes I don't know, I'll go and find out for you, or sometimes I'll record a video about it and we can all learn together. There's a place for learning, whether reading the books or, understanding the system or speaking to friends and getting a community who would also urge you on. I'm happy about my friends who will tell me, Shadrach, when we had, our son, a lot of friends gave us some gifts. And they were specific. Shadrach, this money is not money for you to spend. Put it in your child's stocks and shares ISA. There, I've got a video on, best ISAs for children. Fantastic. Now, you should look at that video. So these people will urge you on already that, Shadrach, this is a gift to you, but I want you to use it for this. And it helps you to. So even if I wasn't thinking of opening an investment account for my child, already my friends are telling me that this is what I want you to use the money for. And you want to be sincere and, accountable. Of course, if I didn't use it for what they wanted me, but they wouldn't know. But you want to be honest. And we grow and then build each other up.
What lessons have you learned about managing money and finances? You shared some, okay, but what major lessons would you say have been really crucial to your success so far?
I think you can't be emotional with your money.
By that, you mean?
You have to be honest to yourself and know what you can afford and what you cannot afford. You have to have a plan before the money actually comes. Building wealth is not that deep. The principles are fundamental. Spend less than you earn. Save the difference. Invest the remainder. Have a long-term plan. At the core of it, I think these are the principles. But what does it mean for each individual? What does it mean to spend less than you earn? Of course, that's where you mean you want to have a budget. If you can increase your income, you want to increase it. Save the difference. Where are you saving it? That's where you want to look at accounts that pay the highest interest. I've done these videos on my channel. If you've not seen it yet, it's about this knowledge, but at the core of it are these principles. And if you stick to it, it works. Of course, sometimes people get lucky. They invest in crypto or do something, and they're lucky and they get 500,000. I've done lottery like twice in my life, and I didn't win. You know how you go to work and they'll say, "Oh, coupon."
I bought it yesterday.
No, well,
I bought it for £2 yesterday. I didn't win nothing. These times I've been daydreaming of winning a lottery.
I
So
know.
this time,
Well, maybe you have hope. I am absolutely hopeless there because you know how even sometimes office we'll go to an office dinner and they'll say everybody should pay £2. Everybody should pay £2, and then they'll pick the winner. See, even that one I've not won some before. So me, Shadagari, I know that my breakthrough will not come from lottery. So I don't do lottery at all. It's also, of course, not too Christian to do. It is hard work that will have to pay. So I stick to this principle and then I do it. If
yeah.
you're watching us and you think that you're gonna make it through lottery, all the best. But I don't know anyone who has made it through lottery. So yeah, I stick to the principles.
Would you? I know some people. So.
Oh, did you?
Oh
Do
yeah,
you know someone who has won a lottery before? I don't know anyone who has won a lottery.
I do.
So
Must
it
have
tells me that even if my network, nobody has made it through that way, what makes me think that I'm going to make it that way?
But the thing is, we all don't know that how much money this person lost trying to make it.
The one who won the lottery, how much did they win?
At the time, this was maybe 15 years ago. At the time, it was about 40,000 Ghana cedis. In Ghana.
Oh.
This is many years ago.
And what did they do with it?
He was the one who used to run the lottery store. So he stopped traveling to bring spare parts or whatever to sell. I hear he was doing well, yeah. So would you say that being financially disciplined is a trait that sets you apart from other migrants that has brought you this far in terms of financial success?
No, absolutely. I mean, because I don't think it's only hard work. As migrants, I mean, that box is checked. We are hardworking, and many people are hardworking, but sometimes not knowing the right place to put the money. I think in my last video, I was sharing that for some people, when they receive their money, now they think that, let me reward myself, and then they blow the money in different ways. But for me, when I receive my money, now I think I have worked hard for this money. This money also ought to work very hard. And so it guides me to put in the right places without risking it to lose it. And that has been, a good principle that works. And actually not getting myself into needless, debt by, it's not everything that I think I need. Being able to tell myself that, Shadrach, you can't afford this. If you see somebody wearing, gold chain, dripping, oftentimes they have absolute very little money. But the person who may be dressed, in a black hoodie, not even wearing a wristwatch or something, perhaps they have a lot more money than
By black hoodie, you mean yourself at this point? Because that's what you are wearing.
Yeah.
And then can you just briefly mention the types of stocks and shares that you are into? Briefly mention them so that we'll have an idea. You definitely come back on my channel. You know that ever since, you spoke about S&P 500 on my channel, you got me started onto it. And I set up a direct debit of £100 every month, aside the initial one that I deposited £100 every month. And I receive an email from Vanguard every single month, and I have no idea how far it is doing. All I know is that I have no idea. I don't even know what, if I go on the page and I don't know what it means, what I'll see. I would like you to come back on the channel and explain to us, because I have several people DM me or send me emails asking me to explain. And I don't feel like I'm in the financial position to do so. I always refer them to you. So what stocks and shares do you do? And then what are some of them that you would advise that we do? And then your final words, and then we'll say bye-bye.
To be honest, I hesitate to share the funds that I hold because people will take it as gospel and then will stick to it and do it because one I can share is the S&P 500, which is one that I invest heavily in. So this is one that I'll hesitate to share because I don't want anyone to take it as gospel and then put in their life savings in it and then they lose and they feel like you've let them down because trust, as you know, in this community is very essential. But one that I can share that I hold is the S&P 500. In fact, personally, I don't hold individual company stocks because they are too volatile. And I mean, I have some knowledge, but I'm not, a financial advisor, so I couldn't tell you that put your money here and I could guarantee this. No, we are all trying to win, and I know funds where, fund is a collection of many stocks. So I rather invest in funds, which is a collection of S&P 500, for example, a collection of 500 companies. So I know that even if some of the companies don't do well, others will do well. And so, that's the sort of thing I tend to invest in. I invest on the Vanguard platform a lot, and they have what they call the life strategy funds. So they have something designed based on your life strategy, whether you want 100% equities or 80% equities or 20% equities, they can invest it for you based on your risk appetite. So I think there are all these ones out there for people who don't even have a lot of knowledge about, stocks and shares to do. In fact, One of the nice ones I recommended to a friend recently was they have the Target Retirement Fund. The person was trying to, build a personal pension. I was like, how do I go about it? I was like, well, I can't advise because I'm not licensed to do so. But Vanguard has, what they call the Target Retirement Fund. So if you're thinking of retiring in 2065, there's a fund which they will invest for you themselves, which is targeted at somebody who wants to retire in 2065. So all of these things do exist. It's about knowing. I'm happy to meet people one-on-one to discuss, but also my channel is there. Subscribe and do watch it, and useful tools there.
Your final words for
It is possible if we put in as much work in thinking about finances and investing in the right places as we do in our various workplaces. I think when you read the book The Alchemist, he says that nature has a way of rewarding hard work. When you work so hard, you are more likely to be lucky. And I think, it puts it in such a way, if you're a person of faith, if you work hard, if you're diligent at what you do, including how you employ your money, the gods will smile at you. Keep grinding, keep working hard. We'll meet at the top.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shadrach.
Thank you.
In 2030, we'll invite you here again to see if you have been able to reach or you surpassed it to 5 million. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, bye.